Hello Advents, Logan here, and as the title says, I've been spread a bit thin lately. I'm gonna take you back through the past year or two. If you've been following me a while, and have been watching my videos, a lot of what I'm going to say is things that you're going to probably have heard before. But yeah, also if I am looking this way a lot, it is because I'm doing this on a script. Because I don't think I can freehand this one. Anyways, I used to work as an airplane mechanic helper, but it was brought to my attention that I was not making the progress that my company was wanting from me, in that they wanted me to get my A&P, or at the very least, they wanted me to get my airframe license. I did not have enough knowledge to even consider doing that. Sort of the idea behind the working environment was, if you work in that environment long enough, then you'll acquire enough knowledge to be able to sort of pass that test on your own. That was not the case in the hangar that I was working in. And that sort of... I was behind in every respect. And so a lot of the work I ended up doing, especially there at the end, ended up being janitorial and hangar maintenance, which honestly, it wasn't what I wanted out of that job. I wanted to fix airplanes. So, I was the happiest when I was, wrenching away on something, or making a new airplane skin, or priming different airplane parts. If I was actually working on something, I absolutely loved that job, and I would want that job back. But anyway, no, I didn't enjoy the position that I was put in as far as doing just janitorial stuff for the most part. So, because I wanted that sort of mechanic kick back, I looked into an auto body repair shop. And I thought to myself, hey, the knowledge that I've acquired working on airframe would probably translate fairly well to working on auto body. And not only could nothing have further been from the truth, I was put in a very bad place mentally. I had to get out of there. I don't know what it was about that place, but I talked about it before. I have in the past had anger management issues, and it was like I was my 17-year-old self again. It was a nightmare. So I had to get out of there, and of course, because of the mental regression, I also needed some time to heal from that, which I'm grateful to my family that not only did they allow me the space that I needed to heal from that, but they also didn't let me stay in that place too long. They pushed me to get another job and move forward. But during that period, just everything stopped. Nothing got done that period, including cleaning, house tending, things that I agreed to do instead of working. No progress was made on my game, on YouTube, anything. Fast forward, got my job as a bus driver, which I'm currently doing to this day. I was happy enough with it, but I still lacked motivation to do anything really outside of that. It wasn't until my buddy Static Crowbar returned on his YouTube channel that it sort of jump-started some inspiration in me to do things again. But even that was shorter lived than I would have liked, or even would have expected. That isn't, of course, to say that I didn't want to edit for him. On the contrary, I want nothing more than to help him grow his channel. I can think of no one that I know personally that deserves that their channel be grown more than him. But there was just stretches in time where I was working on The Crooked Man, and I just could not bring myself to sit down at this computer and edit. Fast forward to a few months ago, I went to see a psychiatrist to sort all this out because just my life was in absolute shambles, and I needed something to sort this out because something had to give. My mom actually recommended a supplement that changed everything for me, and this isn't a plug for this, I'm explaining things, but it changed everything for me, and apparently what it was helping was my depression. Go figure. The psychiatrist confirmed that I definitively had some minor depression and ADHD, and I was going through a depressive episode. Now that I'm out of that, I'm a lot more productive, thank God, but geez, do I have so much on my plate. And I want to share with you everything that I have going on right now to the best of my current recollection. And I already know that I'm going to leave some stuff out, but most of all, I want you to know that I'm not sharing because I don't want to do these things, or I don't want these responsibilities that I've taken on. I just want for those that I've been working with to know and understand where I am at currently. So, yeah, like what's going on, right? Obviously, I have work, but more to the point, I have taken on an extra route that I have to cover sometimes, because that driver has been out on medical leave, and the route that doesn't have their driver, those kids can be a lot, if I'm being honest. I've had to put colored tape on the inside of my bus to separate my bus by grade. I've had to put like white tape on the edges of the seat, be like, hey, don't go past this white line so you're not going into the aisle. I've had to print off a bus rule sheet and put it on the back of literally every single one of my bus seats, so that they have no excuse to not see the rule. It is right there in front of them. And I even made a little AI voice thing that I put on an MP3 player going over each of the bus rules in detail, so that they have to listen to that on loop if they get too out of hand. And they don't like that. So I think that was a success. But even just the act of making that was a thing that I had to do. And then other drivers caught onto this, and they're just like, hey, this, is really great. Can we take some of this on? And I'm just like, sure, but let me fix up, some of the phonetics, the sound, I have like music playing in the back room, the audio isn't quite balanced out, so let me redo it and give you something with better sound quality, better phonetics, because again, AI voices, we all know, can kind of do little wonky things when they're trying to get a word right and it's not quite right. But that was about 2 months ago. Since then, I also need to give another one of my drivers a link that I found I got like 200 really cheap flashlights that I'm giving out to my high schools, being like, hey, it's dark in Alaska, take one of these mini flashlights, make sure you have it on in the morning so I can see you better. And so now other drivers want the link to that, and I haven't. That's another thing that I haven't done. Circling back to that MP3 player, I also have music on that MP3 player. I need to put more music on that MP3 player because I don't want the music to get stale, especially for the older kids. Don't want to listen to the same thing over and over again every day, necessarily. And in addition to that, I have also thought, hey, wouldn't it be a fun idea to put some Halloween music on there? So that's actually something that I meant to do instead of doing this video. But I chose to do this video instead, but that does need to get done this weekend. Since we're still on job things, I want to circle back to the airplane mechanic thing and say, look, again, I do want that job back. I need to do studying for that, so that's another thing that I have to do, preferably before the summer hits. Because if I do it before the summer hits, I can go back into mechanics. If not, I'm stuck with bus driving for another year, which isn't a bad gig. I've enjoyed it so far. I just got more fulfillment from doing airplane mechanics. So studying for getting my A&P, or again, at least my airframe, is another thing on my list. Then there are relationship things that I got going on. Obviously, I have my girlfriend. Some of you know her as Lyra. We aren't going through anything per se. It's just anyone who's been in any kind of relationship for a long period of time knows that it takes work, even when things are going well. I have utterly failed to stay connected with those that I deem to be my friends. During the course of One Last Adventure, I would like to think that I befriended one of the voice talents, but I've done absolutely nothing to solidify or cultivate that friendship. And really, aside from my D&D group, that kind of goes for all of my friends. Static and I barely talk outside of me editing him, and it's like, I want to make time for my friends, but where would I even begin? House chores are a mess. They've gotten better since I started taking the supplements for my depression, but like, to give it context, I moved in with my girlfriend, and at that time, she already had things down in her living area that weren't even hers. They were like things that they were holding on to for family. And that's gotten a lot better as time has gone on. Like, there's a lot less of that stuff around, but our living situation has not gotten any better. Case in point. So yeah, the living room is a mess. We have so many dishes that we have a fruit fly infestation. There's the word that I'm trying to look for. We have so many clothes. We have so much laundry. I don't know if we have ever had it all done in our time of being together. We have so much laundry. My mother-in-law has asked me to paint the stairs, which I'm still in the process of, and that's a story for a whole other day. We have a well house that I need to start checking up on regularly to make sure that our water supply doesn't freeze during the winter. My father asks me to run various errands for me, and he's in the next town over, so anytime I help him, which again, I'm more than happy to do, it takes at least a good hour of my day just in travel alone, let alone any of the helping that I do. And that also usually results in me hanging around, because when I go down there is really the only time I spend with my parents. Speaking of, that also reminds me that I need to schedule a thing for, my mom and I to go do something solo. I was thinking an escape room, and that's been in the plans for the better part of a month and a half. I also, thinking about my mother-in-law, I need to replace my windshield, because she said that she would help pay for that. So my truck needs a new windshield. Has ever since that I bought it. So that's a thing that I need to do. I'm currently working on episode 2 of Into the Pit and the first chapter of Indigo Park for Static. Meanwhile, I have like 2 videos going over behind the scenes stuff for the Crooked Man that we agreed to release on my channel that I haven't even touched yet. In fact, I've wanted to release some behind the scenes videos of me editing Static's videos, and I've wanted to do that for a hot second now, but I haven't had the time to go over any of that. Now I want to go over and give the developer of Eastwood Carnival some constructive criticism, so that's on my list now. But I also, like, just opening the laptop that I wrote this script on, I found a script for a serious summary of Kingdom Hearts that I had completely forgotten about doing. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I've also been trying to remake a card game on a website. That's been a very time-consuming adventure that I pick up and put down periodically. I also provide the voice of Honkyo for an audio drama series called Us 7, but I learned that English is not the author's first language, so I also took on the responsibility of helping and editing for localization, which, and my editing revisions have been anything but timely. And One Last Adventure, where do I even begin? I want to save a lot of what I'm about to say for a devlog, so I'll do cliff notes here, but I had to let a voice actor go for lack of communication, which was holding the project up. I had to find another voice talent to replace him. I still have to put on some of the dialogue from the new voice actor into the game, which, by the way, I'm currently working on the demo and trailer for that game. But I need to do that before I can even think about doing like a Kickstarter or anything for that game. But more than that, I also have devlogs that I want to redo. I promised part 1 was going out just forever ago. And there's clarifying things that I need to put into that, into part 1 that were said in week 1, that are either not true anymore or they need clarification. Yeah, I have things that I need to go over there, and part 2 should probably just be a recap of everything that I did that first year if I'm going to cover what I went over in week 1 in part 1. But, like, that means that I need to write a script for part 1. I need to I need to watch the videos that I did for the week series and put all of that in part 2, so I need to write a script for part 2 as well, before I can even think about doing part 3, which I wanted to do to introduce the story, the demo, the trailer, introduce the music and voice talents. This is, that's all stuff that I need to cover in part 3 if part 1 and part 2 are going to be what the game needs to be and do in part 1, and in part 2, be just going over what I've already done before I even get to part 3, and I still need to work on part 1. And fun fact, I've actually made like 3 different versions of part 1. None of them ended up quite right, so like I said, I have to sit down and write a script. On top of, just the rest of all of that, I have financial obligations I need to attend to, and during the writing of this script, I had been so busy writing it that I forgot that I had Hot Pockets in the microwave. So, I don't know, to wrap all this up, I've just been so busy and so spread thin, and I'm trying to get to everything. And I feel like I owe everyone an apology, but hopefully by oversharing everything that I can remember off the top of my head that I have going on right now, if nothing else, I can earn hopefully just a bit of understanding. And hopefully I have Devlog 1 out soon. That's probably going to be the next thing that I work on after a couple more static stuff. So, I am sorry. That's what I got going on. I'm going to get back at it now. I'm actually going to edit this real quick. It's probably going to be a pretty quick and dirty edit, but what can you do? Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Chill latest.
So catch me if I fall.